Y'all ready? It's time to talk ball with Spunky Spectrum. Let's ride! Ow. Woke up in the morning, coffee in my hand, another season about to start. I'm the fantasy man, scouting sleepers, crunching numbers late at night, building rosters that gon' shine under them lights. From rookie watch to big revenge, I see it all, stacking points while the league's watching me ball. Best ball drafting, no waivers, just pure skill. I'm taking shots, watch the whole league getting killed. Yeah, the grind don't stop, the picks stay high. When the money's on the line, I connect the dots. We're talking fantasy football, best ball drafting deep. Spunky Spectrum spinning, put a league to sleep. 15 grand on DraftKings, cashed it like a king. Now the whole damn country know I run this thing. Yeehaw, raise them up, another W in the books. Fantasy king, got the trophies and the looks. From the podcast mic to the big check in my hand, this is Spunky Spectrum boys, the fantasy man.
Yo, Big D back, and yes, we're not talking World Cup. We're talking golf's fourth and final major, the Open, heading back to Royal Birkdale this week. Joining me, he might be exhausted from having watched England and Norway last night, but Tom Jacobs always here. He's here, yep. So Tom, welcome back. And you know what? If next week's Open is as good as the World Cup's been, there's going to be fireworks on both sides of the pond, mate.
I certainly hope so, yeah. I mean, look, I think I'd be far more tired if Norway had won last night. And to be honest, I mean, we were quite lucky, I think. So you got to get a little bit of luck sometimes, and we'll take it. But, yeah, I think we tried to ride it a little bit too much. So we'll see. Argentina on Wednesday, so it's us versus Messi, because that's all they've got. So, and he's nearly 40 years old. So, yeah, if we can't win that game, then we're giving up one of the best chances we've had. So, let's see if we can get an English Open Championship winner and an England World Cup win on Sunday.
That would be quite the July 19th in your neck of the woods.
And we would have just, I mean, if Ferry had got to the final of Wimbledon as well, we could have had the hat trick. But, yeah, that's Sinner and Zverev as we speak. So, yeah, we will see.
Yeah, when you think of Open Championships, what's the first word that comes to mind?
Probably the weather. I think all of these courses that you go to, right, in the Open Championship are pretty much dependent on the weather. I mean, we've seen these golf courses get absolutely beaten to sleep if there's no adverse weather conditions. We had some low scoring here in 2017. Obviously, Jordan Spieth won at 12 under par here in 2017. He beat Matt Kuchar by 3 shots. Houghton Lee shot fine around 63. So really good tournament in 2017. I remember being there. My dad had bet on Matt Kuchar, and we were stood whilst Jordan Spieth was hitting out of the Titleist tour truck. We were standing around 40 minutes waiting for him to play that shot. So, yeah, some fun memories of the golf course. Really nice golf course. Really nice course to view at. Not so hot betting there because we were on Matt Kuchar. But yeah, it was a great tournament to go to. And look, I've been fortunate then to go to Open Championships. Probably, I think it was 4 or 5 in a row from 2014. Well, actually more than that, through to 2021. So I've been very fortunate to go to them, seen what they're all about. And yeah, every time it's been the weather that's kind of dictated things.
I would say the Open Championship is the most unique because everything that works well for the Masters, the PGA, and the US Open, I think you can throw that out the window because the weather's going to play in that more bunkers. So guess what? Keeping the ball low, because we see on some of these firm fast courses in the Open, keeping that. Tiger was great. 2006 Open Royal Liverpool, that low stinger on the ball because the winds could eat it up. And then, you know, the greens are so much different than they are in the States because the greens are much slower. So you imagine a 20-foot putt at the U.S. Open will be way different than a 20-foot putt here at the Open.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think the other thing is just like, you stand on a tee in the US Open, the Masters, or the PGA, and it's kind of in front of you, right? Like if you go to the Masters, you've got the pine straw bordering the fairways. If you go to a US Open or a PGA, you generally can see what is rough. When you look at the Open Championship, it's like this big brown canvas sometimes because of all the burnt out, fairways and rough. So I remember talking to Ted Scott about it and sort of asking about why Bubba Watson was so good at Augusta and Phoenix. And it's because he was always so clear on where he needed to hit. Phoenix was, desert, bordering the fairways. Augusta was pine straw bordering the fairways, and that really helped him visualize. Whereas the Open, he couldn't really kind of work out where he was going off the tee. So I think there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, I think we used the word patience for the US Open, right? So I don't want to use that one again, but I think it's relevant. You're going to get some bad breaks. You're going to find yourself, really chipping for par a lot. But I think it's. I think you said it's really unique, and Masters is repeatable. You get the same players every year because you go back to the same course every year. The Open, some of these players will only play these courses once, right? There's always a person that's making their debut on these courses. So I think it'll be an exciting watch, and it's quite confusing at the moment. Who's the player to beat? I think Dylan at the moment.
Yeah, going into the Open, this field is the most confusing I can ever remember because Scottie Scheffler missed his first cut at the Scottish Open since the 2022 Scottish Open, but of course he's the defending champ. Roy McIlroy, I don't think Roy McIlroy's been the same since winning Augusta. This year, it was okay at the PGA, but not really in contention. The Open, Roy, and Roy's not really played much. Let's see.
I think Rory's really interesting, though, right? Because he was good for a couple of rounds at the Scottish. He was really poor yesterday, and then today he's come back and fired a 64. And we know he's the type of player that can use that one round to kind of kick on. And if I was going to be really confident about someone at the top, I think he's probably the one, right? I really don't want to be on Scottie Scheffler at the moment, despite the fact that he's got, a fantastic Open record, and Americans do, generally play this tournament really well. We obviously won it last year. He was 7th year before that, 8th on debut, 21st and 23rd before that. So he's, he's never missing the cut in the Open Championship. Obviously, we've just seen him miss his first cut in years, right? Or, whatever it was, however many events it was. But
4 years.
There you go. So it's been a while since we've seen Scheffler miss a weekend, but does that give him the extra weekend to go and prepare in Liverpool? What does that do? So I don't think Scheffler's right there yet. I think you're right about Rory. I don't know if he's really at his best, but I do think he's probably safer than some of the others at the top.
Yeah, and then I look at some of these guys around him. Fleetwood, yes, he's going home, and I think we would both agree Tommy Fleetwood will have a lion's share of the support, but you know what that means? A lion's share of the pressure.
Yeah, he hasn't shown the ability to cope with that yet, as he did in the Open Championship. I think, the one time he did have a real go at it, he was obviously in Ireland, and obviously the lion's share of support was on Shane Lowry that week. So I think he benefited from, being out of the spotlight slightly then. Obviously had a 4th and a 10th place finish since, but just hasn't really been able to do it when the sort of expectations been at its highest. So look, he's got that kind of monkey off his back in terms of the PGA Tour win. Then he's obviously in fantastic form. As we speak, he's kind of in top 10 at the Scottish Open. He's had a couple of.
It helps if you don't need the putter.
Yeah. And I just don't have full confidence in Fleetwood. He was 27th here in 2017, probably a better player now, but I would probably pass on Fleetwood at the prices, because you're always going to get some of the UK players overvalued, right, in these tournaments. And I think history suggests that we should not let that bias kind of creep in, because we see plenty of American winners and international winners.
Yeah, because I'm thinking back. I think Fowler's the last England. Wait, Fowler the last Englishman to win an Open, right?
Yes, so you got to go back to
92.
90. Yeah, I was going to say 1990, but yeah, 92. Obviously, you've had British winners since then, Darren Clark and Rory, but a couple of Irish winners in Podrick Harrington and Shane Lowry. But otherwise, look, you've got 4 out of the last 5 Opens have been won by Americans, and then Cam Smith broke that up as an Australian. So, since 2013, there's been, what has it been, like 7 American winners? It's crazy, right? So the years of us having this kind of bias over in the UK and really being able to make it our tournament are gone.
Yeah, British Open's become the American Open now.
Yeah, they might as well just universally be called the Open. They try and call the US Open the Open, don't they? So they might as well both just be called the Open at this point.
Yeah, especially. We mentioned good guys around the PGA Tour. Well, in golf in general, maybe not so good guys. So, which one do you want to start with? The good guys or the not so good guys?
Let's start with the not so good guys. Let's get the negatives out of the way.
I'm gonna take Wyndham Clark first because of what happened at Oakmont last year. I think we know what happened when he left the locker room in shambles.
Yeah, I think the trouble with Wyndham Clark in that respect, I think he's been held to a higher standard than a lot of other golfers. I think if some other golfers crashed out like that, I think they'd be kind of forgiven a bit quicker than Wyndham's been. But I think the problem with him is that he was kind of nothing, then had this big launch into superstardom through like Netflix and the US Open and all this sort of stuff. And then I think he just got a bit too big for his boots. He started weighing in on the live issues a bit too much. And he sort of said, the trouble is with them is they're not used to, weekends. And then he goes and does this at the US Open. It's like, look, just, pump the brakes. You're a really good golfer and you need to just stick to that rather than kind of getting involved. And I think he's kind of rebuilding himself a little bit, Dylan. And, I think one of the benefits of this is that he always goes out to what I think is probably a slightly bigger price than he should be because people just don't like him, which is, it suits me as a golf bettor to be able to acknowledge that bias.
Yeah, and Wyndham Clark's game is still what it is. And I don't think Wyndham Clark minds being the unwanted, the unpopular guy because golf seemingly loves the stars. I mean, remember how many times Tiger would get big crowds or Bill, Roy now. Wyndham Clark doesn't mind being the bad guy.
No, I think he buys into it. Same with Patrick Reed, right? They kind of relish it. And I guess Patrick Reed's the other one. They're both people that will always be kind of front of mind at the major championships at the moment. And Wyndham Clark 4th in the Open last year is really impressive, and he's going well again at the Scottish Open. So I could see a world in which Wyndham Clark upsets a few more people next week and is in contention at Birkdale.
Yeah, you imagine Wyndham Clark going US Open, and then it's like, oh boy.
Yeah.
NBC, and who does the Open in your neck of the woods?
Sky Sports, yeah.
NBC and Sky Sports won't know what to do with themselves.
No, they won't. I think it will ruin a lot of narratives. I think they'd much rather that a certain Englishman would win. There's a couple of them, but yeah, if Wyndham Clark or Patrick Reed win, I think they'll struggle for enjoyment. Some of the bias will come out.
Of course, there might be another game coming on that day, but that's either near or there. What about Patrick Cantlay?
Yeah, what about Patrick Cantlay? I mean, where is he with his game now, Dylan? He's not elite anymore, I think is probably fair to say, isn't it? I think he's probably dropped out of that bracket slightly. I know he threatened to do it a little bit in recent times, but I would be slightly against Cantlay at the moment with the way he's been playing. I think
Cantlay's negativity has hurt him too.
Yeah.
I mean, because how can Patrick Cantlay go from being the best guy to never win a major, and now he's 7K for the Open, and let me see what his number is. Let me see what his number is.
60 to 1.
56 to 1.
Yeah. I can see a 60 out there as well. So he's a big price, but I think for good reason. I know he's had some good results, right? He's top 15 at the Travellers, top 20 at Memorial, 10th at the Truist. But you look at the kind of majors, 12th at the Masters was fine, but 35th at the PGA, missed the cut at the US Open. I just think that it's gone, isn't it? That edge has really gone for Patrick Cantlay.
Okay, so now we go from maybe guys we don't like to guys we do like. I think universally, I'm not going to pick who most people would say. I think the golfing community likes Tommy Fleetwood, and not just because of the Caddyshack here, but he is such a really good dude.
He would be the most popular winner next week. Being back in Liverpool. There's a host of them, right? There's a host of Englishmen that would be popular. I think obviously then Robert McIntyre as a Scot would be popular. Rory McIlroy is always going to be popular. But Tommy Fleetwood would be head and shoulders above everyone. Just one, because it's funny, isn't it? Is he overdue a major win? I don't know. He was definitely overdue a PGA Tour win. I think now the argument is that he's probably not. I know he's obviously been a couple of runners-up finishes, but he's not really been in the heat of it, right, at these majors. Maybe 2017 at the US Open, but he was always kind of second best in those. So yeah, I don't think he's overdue, but he's certainly less than the only step left for his career, Dylan, is that he wins a major championship, and he would love for that to be at the Open. He's not going to be fussy. He'll take a PGA Championship if he has to, but yeah, I think he would certainly pick the Open Championship off the ball. I guess. I mean, as an Englishman, I'd still pick the Masters, but I think he would pick the Open Championship.
Declare Chuck. I think Tommy Fleetwood could find a few ways to have fun with it.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to be in the Open Championship merchandise store, isn't he? And getting dressed up in that without his sponsors there. So that'd be fun to see what he kind of puts on some Birkdale uniform next week. But yeah, look, I think he's just a little bit off of it, Dylan, if I'm completely honest. I don't think the killer edge is there for Tommy this season. That there's Englishmen that are kind of showing it a bit more than him at the moment.
Couple more guys for me. One, everybody loves Jordan Spieth, and next segment you're gonna tell me about what happened at the last Open Championship at Birkdale, where he took an hour and a half looking for his ball. But I mean, everybody loves Jordan Spieth, and you know what? I can't see through the fog, through the clouds, through the rain, but I think Ricky Fowler's there in orange.
I would take Ricky Fowler over Jordan Spieth at the moment if I was to pick one that was more likely to win a golf tournament. Again, look, both hugely popular winners, probably the two most popular US winners next week if it wasn't going to be Tommy Fleetwood, right? I don't think people are massively rooting for, Scheffler. I think people have just accepted that he is just what he is, right? I think actually he's kind of turning people off a little bit. The likes of Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa don't show enough kind of personality. I think Cam Young will be relatively popular now. I feel like he's built his reputation up again. But you think about the other Americans like Bryson, Sam Burns, Russell Henley. Like they're not really popular winners, right? So it is coming down to kind of the likes of Spieth and Fowler. Maybe Sam Burns would be, relatively popular. He seems, to have his kind of fans, if you like. Justin Thomas is, polarizing is probably the best word for him. But
I think Brooks would be really polarizing, but I'm not sure it'd be positive or negative.
I think in the end it would be popular for Brooks. I think he's had this kind of redemption arc now where he's kind of come back, and because he's now back on the PGA Tour, everyone wants to love him again, and all the narrative of him being the best major player and all this sort of stuff. So I think he'd be popular, but again, can't see it with Brooks Koepka at the moment. Can't putt.
Yeah, I mean, Brooks missed the cut in at the U.S. Open and Canadian Open. So what's going to happen at the Open?
And the Scottish, right?
Oh.
So I think he's a bit far out. But yeah, Jordan Spieth. Look, I think shall I go into Birkdale from 2017? So we were sat there, me and my dad. We were following them around, and we'd had this bet on Matt Kuchar, and look, it looked for all the world. I mean, Spieth was obviously 3 ahead going into the final round, but Kuchar was really kind of there, and he was ready to take over, I think. And then all of a sudden, Spieth goes miles out of the way. He ends up in the tightest tour track. He spends, I mean, he said an hour and a half. It was at least kind of 40 minutes by the time I got in position of just waiting for him to hit it. Hits a miracle shot and then just pulls off this absolute flurry of good shots on the back nine to win it. And that was when Spieth was kind of in his Magic Beans era, Dylan, where he used to just get up and down from anywhere. He used to kind of get all the breaks and, look, that's run out for Spieth. But I think that was probably the last time where it's been like really exciting. Maybe, I guess, Cam Smith in 2022, because the Shane Lowry one was a bit of a procession. I know that him winning in Port Rush is a big one. Maybe Francesco winning the following year against some big names. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know whether it's probably the most exciting of the last few years.
He did the most controversial one too, with how long it took Spieth.
He should not have had that amount of time, and he shouldn't have been able to play it the way that he did. But I don't think anyone's going to be upset that Matt Kuchar didn't win the Open Championship. I think that'd be like Stuart Sink winning over Tom Watson. So, I think.
Or the year Patrick Harrington won over a certain golfer, and I'm not going to tell you who it is because that's one of my trivia questions.
Okay, well, hold on to that one.
So besides what happened in Birkdale 9 years ago, what's probably the most controversial golf moment you can remember? I mean, there've been plenty of VAR decisions at the World Cup. What would be the one VAR decision you could won over?
In the Open or just in golf in general?
Or golf in general. It could be a major or any of it.
I remember Patrick Reed getting a slightly controversial ruling at Torrey Pines, didn't he, the year that he won? That was pretty controversial. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I always think about we mentioned this last time that Dustin Johnson won for the PGA Championship when he was outside the hazard. Those are the ones that come to mind to me. What about you?
20. Oh yeah, I was thinking. Didn't Patrick Reed have like a moment 2019 at Tiger's event, the Hero World Challenge? But.
Yeah, he would have been involved in a couple of the most controversial things that would happen in the last few years.
By the way, didn't Matt Fitzpatrick call a penalty on Colin Morikawa? Fitz called a penalty on Colin Morikawa. I don't remember what event it was, but I think Fitz snitched on Colin Morikawa.
I mean, that sounds a lot like Matt Fitzpatrick, to be quite honest. I think he'd be happy to do that. Also, it sounds a lot like Colin Morikawa having to, not calling on himself, to be quite honest with you. So, apparently, it says that the headline was that he didn't tattle on him, was what was said, but
didn't tattle on him.
But then it said that he did use green reading materials. So, yeah, weird one. I do remember. I think it was. This is a very niche one, but I think it was Fernandez Castagno on the European Tour called out Simon Dyson for cheating, and that was always one. Something to do with, I think it was maybe tapping down spike marks or something before that was allowed. So that was he. They used to really hate each other because he did literally accuse him of cheating to win a golf tournament. So yeah, and those are the ones that kind of come up in memory.
Yeah, and just crazy what's happening in golf. And I mean now, by the way, can you believe it's been 50 years since the crazy 76 Open Championship at Birkdale? Birkdale, that was when it was baking hot, and Johnny Miller won. Seve Ballesteros made his breakthrough, I guess you would say, at the Open at age 19.
Yeah. And how many did he go on to win after that, Dylan? Maybe that should be a trivia question, but
I can, 2 or 3.
3. Yeah, so he had 3. He did. So he went and won the 1979 at Royal Livingston St Anne's, 84 at St Andrews, and then again at Livingston St Anne's in 1988.
Not bad. And by the way, there's a funny story about the summer of '76 at Birkdale about a guy who tried playing in the Open, and who was the golfer to shoot? And I'm not kidding. I think it's 121 at Royal Birkdale and Royal Birkdale for the '76 Open.
Did they make a movie out of it? I feel like they might have done.
Yes. In qualifying competition for the '76 Open, a 121. What? Take a wild guess. Who shot 160? 121 and trying to qualify for the '76 Open. You will get. I thought if you get this guy's name, I'll go into my hot tub. I'm kidding, but
the thing is if it's the movie that I'm thinking of, I've actually watched it, and I can't remember his name.
Maurice Philcroft.
Yes, and it was the movie's called The Phantom of the Open, I think. Yeah, that's a hell of a watch. That if you haven't seen it, definitely go and watch it. It's quite funny. We've got Mark Rylance in it. So yeah, give that a watch, Dylan, if you haven't seen that before.
Mark Rylance, Sally Hawkins. That'd be a different golf movie other than a Tin Can or a Caddyshack, right? Happy Gilmore.
I don't think we'll see 121 shots this week. Hopefully not, anyway.
Maybe for 2 rounds, but not 1.
2 rounds would be a great score. But yeah, I could imagine that'd be an interesting one to try and predict what the highest score is going to be. I'm going to go with I feel like there's an 87 out there for someone, Dylan, on Thursday.
With one of these old guys, maybe.
Yeah, or an amateur who's qualified.
Oh, yeah, I feel right.
Big final Open qualifying event tomorrow, right? On the Monday, like 12 players as a shootout, I think. Wesley Bryan's in it. Joe Dean's in it. The people that just missed out of the final qualifying, so that should be fun as well.
Oh, by the way, just like all open courses, there's all bunkers. And by the way, don't hit the ball in the bunker. They are literal hazards in the UK. And at Birkdale, there's a bunker called the Donut Bunker.
Okay, you don't want to go in there. That would be the end of it. We'll look like a donut trying to get out of it. So, avoid the bunkers at Royal Birkdale. Look, I think that goes for most open courses, right? Is that if you find the fairways, you're going to be in a good position. Because Brian Harman was the kind of epitome of that in the last Open that was in Liverpool, right? So, if you can kind of focus on that and then worry about the next bit afterwards, you don't want to be this massive hitter that just keeps smashing it into the fescue and the bunkers. You want to be kind of in the middle of the fairway and play from there. So. It's going to be an interesting tournament for sure. Yeah,
I feel like distance is not necessarily needed because Brian Holman's won an Open, Colin Morikawa's won an Open.
Yeah,
Scotty's big enough. Scotty's a good enough hitter to win an Open. Xander can bomb him, but it's different if guys are actually hitting irons instead of hitting a driver every single hole.
Well, you think about like the people that contended this in 2017. You've got Spieth and Kuchar. You had, Houghton Lee's a reasonably big hitter, so it was obviously Rory. But Carrera fine, but not massive. You've got Grace, Koepka, Leishman, Noren, Southgate. A mix of both. But you had Chan Kim in 11th place. Austin Connolly finished 14th that year with Zach Johnson, Jason Duffner. So you did not need to be a big hitter in 2017 to get around these parts. By the way, absolutely ludicrous that Chan Kim finished so high up in the 2017 Open Championship. Interesting one.
Yeah, maybe Siwoo Kim, although I think Chan and Siwoo Kim might have different nationalities.
Yeah, Chan Kim's American, Siwoo Kim's Korean. But
okay, yes.
Yeah. But still amazing.
I mean, if you look at it from a DraftKings pricing, I do like it that it's already out. Let's see, Scotty at 13.3, Roy at 11.9, Fleetwood 10.5, Fitz at 10K even, then Xander, Ron, Ludwig, Rose, Cam Young's at $9,000. Don't tell me, are we going to have another Open where, like, I feel like people are just going to play him because Wyndham Clark pissed off everybody at the U.S. Open, but I have no idea, like, who's going to be popular here. I mean, we know Fleetwood's probably going to be popular. I mean, I don't remember JT ever being this cheap for a major. I mean, he's priced between Fitzpatrick and Brooks.
Yeah, if JT wins the Open Championship, I'd be very surprised. I know he's obviously playing a little bit better at the moment, but he does not have a very good Open Championship record.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cheap, but cheap for a reason. I think Wyndham Clark is going to be popular. I know it's kind of, he's not a popular player, but it'll be absolutely ludicrous to leave him out of those kind of prices. I think Justin Rose is going to be an interesting play. I don't think he's going to be I think he's going to be too expensive for a lot of people, and I think that could give you an edge if you believe in Justin Rose. I mean, he played well for a little while there at the Travelers, right? He's inside the top 10 for the first 3 rounds. He was 11th at the US Open, 12th at the Memorial, 10th at the PGA. So he's playing well, and I don't think people want to pay up for Justin Rose. And he's another one, a little bit like Tommy Fleetwood, Dylan. I think the Open Championship may almost mean too much to them, that it becomes such a pressurized situation. I mean, Justin Rose obviously famously played so well, as an amateur in the Open Championship, and then
wait a minute, wasn't that at Birkdale the year Malcolm Merrill won?
Yeah, and he's just not going to. I don't know. I just find it really hard for him to live up to expectations because. And
you think 24 when Rhodes was leading and Xander shot around the year with that 65.
Yeah, I mean, what was he? Top 4, wasn't he? Shot a couple over par in 98, like you said. So, yeah, I think it's hard for someone like a Rose, but what a player! What a player he is, and he continuously proves it. But yeah. I think he'd find it hard. And I think Rose would be another guy who not just the patrons, but the golfers themselves wouldn't mind if he won. No, exactly. He'd be another one that would be definitely popular. I mean, if you look at his recent history, though, Dylan, for Birkdale, 70th and 54th, he definitely didn't come back here very well, Rose. Yeah, not in 2008 or 2017. Before we announce our bets, it's time for our favorite time on the show, trivia time. So I will go first this time and asking you, Trip. We know that Patrick Harrington won the 2008 Open Championship at Royal Birkdale. Who led after 54 holes that year? Well, I know who he beat. So he obviously famously beat Sergio Garcia, so I'm going to say Sergio Garcia was. No, actually, that was 2007 in the playoff. 7. Ah, okay. Poulter?
I think Poulter finished second, but Ian Poulter is not ranked.
So what are you looking for? You're not looking for the person he directly beat. Who was
I'm
the
looking
54-hole
for
leader?
who was the 54-hole leader in 2008?
And he wasn't going to be a popular player. Is that what you were saying earlier to me when you were talking about a clue?
Especially with what he's done in the 20th century.
Oh, it's got to be Greg.
Greg Norman.
Norman, yes, famously, contending in an Open at that age, and then, unlike Greg Norman, unraveling in the final round of a major championship.
Shocker!
I mean, Ian Poulter now not popular either, so maybe that's just a bad Open. It's not aged very well. I mean, Padraig Harrington's still remain popular, but a bad one for the bad guys, I guess, that week.
Yeah, talk about the weather being an issue for that Open. Maybe Ian Poulter should have changed his trousers on the 11th tee.
There's a lot of times Ian Poulter should have changed his trousers. He didn't make very good decisions.
And I've got another one for you. Which Aussie won back to now? These were not consecutive opens, consecutive years, but which Aussie won Open championships at Royal Birkdale in the 50s and 60s?
Oh, 50s and 60s. You do like to test me.
I mean, we know Aussies do well at the Open.
I mean, there's one that won so many, isn't there? Is he the record holder for the most Opens?
Peter Thompson.
Peter Thompson, yeah. And he's alongside Tom Watson?
I think Tom won. Yeah, I think Tom won 5 Opens? I don't know how many Peter won.
I think they both won 5. I think they're among the two. I think there's like 4 of them that have won 5. Maybe Watson's final one was in '83. Obviously, a lot of people were hoping he was going to win one more.
Yeah, Peter won 5.
Yeah, so I think there's 4 or 5 players that won 5, and they're 2 of them. So the rest of them are obviously kind of maybe Harry Varden must have won more because don't they call it the Varden Trophy or something? So, so there we go. I've got one for you, Dylan. Unless you got another one for me.
I'm done.
Cool. Lowest round in Open Championship history was shot at Birkdale. Who shot it?
I think I know this one. Brendan Grace, 2017. He shot a 62.
Yeah, best round in Open Championship history. That's what you might have sort of cottoned onto the fact that when I talked about the people that contended here in 2017, I tried to quickly hover over Brendan Grace's name because obviously he had that great round.
By the way, I think that was the first sub 63 in a major.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was, and then obviously it was it Xander and Ricky that did it both in the same round in the US Open after that. So
yeah, in 20 minutes of each other.
Yeah, so I'm sure they were really pleased. I know I was when I was on both of them for first round lead, and I had to share it. That was a tough old day. But yeah.
So wait a minute. So you didn't even win your bet because they were.
I had to. Yeah, I got half of both of them, so it was pretty tough. But there we go. I've got another Open Championship. One. Who was the last player ranked outside the top 50 in the world when they won the Open Championship?
Oh God. Ernie Els?
Nope.
Am I going? Did I go back too far? If I go back enough?
No, you've gone. Well, Ernie Els won his second one at the similar time, but it was just before Ernie Els.
Oh God. Darren Clark would have been top 50, right?
Darren Clark was outside the top 50. Last player outside the top 50. He was obviously, I think, in a pretty bad run of form at the time, and he'd obviously lost his wife, hadn't he, going into that tournament? So I imagine that was probably a lot to do with the kind of bad form as well. And then obviously a very emotional Open Championship victory. But he was the last one, Dylan, to win outside the top 50. I would have said Brian Harman. So I know obviously he was playing quite well going into it. But I would have picked Brian Harman. So
actually, I remember. I think the Ryder Cup in Ireland, where Darren Clark took the tee literally weeks after his wife died of cancer.
Yeah, he did. He pulled off some pretty miraculous things during that time. So just goes to show, doesn't it, what you can do in certain mindsets. And I guess
I'll be honest with you, the European and American players wearing green was too much for my eyes to bear.
Yeah, absolutely. And then final one for me: who holds the 72-hole scoring record at the British Open?
You mean, is this the lowest score to Paul, or just the lowest score in general?
Lowest score in general. I mean, there was obviously a couple that have got the lowest score to par. But yeah, lowest 72-hole score.
Did Scott? I think Scotty said it last year, right?
He was 17 under. So it wasn't him.
Wait, is this the lowest score to Paul? Is this the lowest score and lowest number?
Same. He has both. He's at the lowest final score, 72 holes, and then tied for relative to par.
Cameron Smith?
No, he's the one of the two that are tied for in relation to par, but the other one's the lowest final score in terms of overall number, and then obviously 20 under as well.
How far back do I have to go?
Not too far. Within, 10 years. Probably the greatest Open Championship I've ever watched.
Zach?
Nope.
Okay, so 16, that would be 7. Not Shane Lowry, right? The year he won it.
He had the lowest 54-hole score. It was just after Zach.
Oh, gosh. So it was between Zach and Jordan Spieth, right?
Correct.
Oh, boy. 2016. Oh, Henrik Stenson, the year he and Phil went mano a mano.
Honestly, the best thing I've ever watched. Like I managed to watch I was there. I managed to watch every single hole. Troon, probably the best golf course I've ever watched as a patron. Just unbelievable. I saw every single shot. We were getting, Mickelson and Stenson were both dishing out fist bumps. It was unbelievable. And then we saw some guy passed out because he'd had too much alcohol on like the 16th. And I was like,
That's totally surprising in the
you're
UK.
missing the absolute best round of golf I've ever seen, and you're currently getting sunburned because you had too many beers. But
Phil said that's all I have. I mean, Stenson Phil shot a 65 and lost.
Yeah, I know. And look, this is a thing with Phil. I mean, obviously he's had a lot of off the course issues, right? And his popularity's gone right down the toilet, unfortunately, for his own reasons. But boy, was he involved in some of the greatest golf moments. You think about 2021 being the oldest major winner as well. So he's brought us a lot of good in golf as well.
And then Phil winning his own Clare Jug in 2013, right?
Correct. Yeah, Muirfield.
And now how things have changed. How Murfield's not even in the Open on Mana.
And I don't suppose Phil will be teeing it out next week, although he is listed in the field at the moment. But I don't suppose he'll be there.
Yeah. Okay, so now bets. Who do you have? I mean, it's early. It's Sunday evening in the UK. Who do you have for open bets?
Yeah, so I'm still yet to fully commit because, as you said, it is Sunday. But I'm just thinking about a player that will probably be a little bit upset with our country after last night's football.
Is it a certain Viking with the initials VH?
It may well be. It might be the guy that was rowing all the way through the Scottish Open. But Victor Hovland, 12th, 4th, and 13th in his first 3 Open Championships. Not been great over the last couple of years, but obviously he's just got that win at the Travellers, hasn't he? 3rd at the Canadian Open, certainly getting back to form now, and he's just played well again at the Scottish Open. He's inside the top 15 there. So to me, I think Victor Hovland's showing some really positive signs. So he's certainly front of mind. I think it's very hard to overlook Wyndham Clark at the moment. I know that he's only had that one good Open Championship last year, but I just think he's. I mean, where do we put him in terms of world players at the moment? I mean, he's got to be
top 5.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably 3rd, I think, right? Like the way he's kind of playing right now. I mean, obviously, Scotty and Rory are always going to get the kind of credentials as the top 2 at the moment. But, yeah, what do you got? Fitzpatrick and then Clark?
That's what I'm thinking.
It's tough to go past those guys, right? So, and both of them, Hovland and Wyndham Clark, I think are a reasonable price. Now, I haven't really decided on either of them fully yet, but they're certainly on my kind of shortlist. I mean, I'm looking at people that are like, Chris Gotterup, all the power to him, fantastic golfer. He's 30-1. Ludwig Aberg, 31-1. Cam Young, kind of out of form at the moment, 33-1. Xander Schauffele, 25-1. Or I can go to, Victor Hovland, who's back in the winner's circle, 45. Wyndham Clark, who's, as we said, probably top 3 player in the world at the moment, 42-1. These prices just seem too big for these golfers.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys feel like I think the guys in the 50s all. I think the guys in the 50s all intrigued because, I mean, would it be crazy? I mean, Victor Hovland did play a lot on the European Tour going up. Could it? I mean, yeah, his Open Championship history is not great, but would it be surprising if Victor Hovland put it together? Oh, excuse me, if Brooks Koepka put it together?
Yeah, I think with Brooks, it is the one major, right, where it doesn't feel like he's kind of left his footprint on it. But we're saying that he's still got 4 top 10s. This is just the mark of what we leave, mate. 4 top 10s in the Open Championship. It's just ultimately because he hasn't contended for one. And, when you look at it, he was tied 6th here in 2017. So it's one of his better Open Championships. I just don't think he's playing quite well enough.
I don't think so either. You know what? I'm going to keep up the English tradition and go into a guy, maybe Tyrrell Hatton, puts it in the major. I mean, he was great at Augusta. I think he was sort of good at the U.S. Open, right?
Yep. Yeah, he finished 7th.
And we have Tyrrell Hatton can only play well like 1 or 2 open courses. He's probably already complaining about the open course.
He is, but I think he's one of those now that he kept moaning about how much he hates Augusta, and he's finally found his way kind of around that. This is a guy that's won the Dunhill Links 3 times. He's got 2 top 6 finishes in the Open Championship in the past as well. So it's hard to look past someone like Tyrrell Hatton.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on Hovland, and plus we know Hovland does well outside the U.S. anyway, so he's right at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's an interesting kind of long shot to me. What do we make of someone like Hideki Matsuyama?
What is Hideki's number? Oh, 86-1.
86-1. I mean, and this is a guy, I've seen him play really well at a major championship. He hasn't got the higher end finishes that I thought he had, but he's got 6th, 18th, 14th, 13th, 16th again last year. Played well here in 2017, finishing 14th. The Open was 68, 3rd round 66. So he was around the kind of leads, right? So to me, he was inside the top 10 after 2 rounds.
I'm confused why Hideki's number is that low. I mean, maybe his Open Championship history. Of course, who knows if Hideki's totally healthy, but I don't think it's the craziest one. If you want a really long shot, there's a Jordan S, but it's not Jordan Spieth. It's Jordan Smith.
I mean, rather you than me, buddy. I'm patriotic, but not enough to bet Jordan Smith. He was in the lead after a couple of rounds.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding on Jordan Smith.
Yeah. I mean, he's playing well. It's good on the PGA Tour, right? But he's the type of player that would be there after 2 rounds, and then you'll never see him.
Maybe first round leader with Jordan.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a wiser play with someone like Jordan Smith. I mean, you had Houghton Lee finished 3rd here in 2017, final round 63. Maybe he'll pop up, but Broderick Harrington playing very well in the seniors at the moment. Maybe he'll be there. A bit of a Birkdale specialist, but I think realistically, there's probably 10 to 12 golfers that can actually really win this, and some of the ones we mentioned there probably aren't in that list.
Okay, so go ahead and ask me the question.
Dylan, who is the one and done pick for the 2026 Open Championship? Your final one and done pick for the year. Who's going to get it done?
My guy's going to have to fit in the clear jug because his trophy case is going to grow by 1 and maybe 2, depending on what happens in Scotland. But Matthew Fitzpatrick is going to be the 2026 Open champ at Royal Birkdale.
Tell me why, Dylan.
Well, Fitzpatrick's already won this year, and I feel like Open champions almost always have to win.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick's long enough. He's got the wedges. He's got the putter. And I think Fitzpatrick last year figured out Open Championship play with the good finish. And plus, I think in some ways this is a magical. So you know what? This might be a magical week for England. With a World Cup semifinal, annual final, potentially Englishmen winning a home Open for the first time in a generation and a half. I think Matthew Fitzpatrick's one of those guys who is more than capable of winning the Open, and I think he's going to do it next week.
Do you think there's any stress of them trying to get finished and out of there before the World Cup final on Sunday? Is that going to put, certainly going to make people play a little bit faster, I think. But yeah,
I don't think Matthew Fitzpatrick and those guys are hopping on Concorde in New York.
Yeah, it would be a bit interesting one. But look, it's a funny one. Matt Fitzpatrick kind of talks about the fact that his game is not really tailor-made for the Open, but I think the reason he says that is to remove some pressure, Dylan. I think this is a lot of tactics when people are, the expectations are high for someone like Matt Fitzpatrick. He finished fourth in it last year. That was obviously his first kind of top 10 in the Open. So I guess to his point, it hasn't been tailor-made to him at this point, but he kind of has a really spotty major record, right? You go to 2016, he finished 7th. He had that really good one round at Augusta, but 2022, he had 2 top 5s. 2023, he's got 1 top 10. 2025, he has 2 top 10s, but he's kind of in between that, been really sort of up and down. So I think him pinpointing the Open as a struggle for him is more just actually I'm really struggling at the majors every now and then, and I want to take the pressure off myself. I think he's got a great chance. He can't be playing any better, I don't think, than he is right now. I mean, as we said, he's kind of in the hunt at the Scottish Open. I'm just looking at the scores here, and Tom Kim's got a 2-shot lead over Minwoo Lee, 3-shot lead over Matt Fitzpatrick, and Johnny Kiefer, who I certainly didn't have down winning the Scottish Open. So if Johnny Kiefer takes out Tom Kim, I'm going to be relatively upset, having bet Tom Kim. But yeah, I think he's got a fantastic chance, Matt Fitzpatrick.
So, who's your one and done for the Open?
Yeah, I think, look, people might come back to me in a couple of days' time when my article goes out and say, hey, you said this was one and done on Dylan's podcast, and I may have changed my mind by then. But the way I'm leaning at the moment, I think it's got to be Wyndham Clark. I think Wyndham Clark's odds are fantastic. 42-1 for a player that, I mean, is there? I don't know. There's a more informed player than Wyndham Clark right now. I mean, he's got 3 wins or coming out. He's looking for 3 wins in 6 if he wins this week. So he's got 2 wins in his last 5. He's obviously just won the US Open. He's got a 4th in the Open Championship last year. I don't see any reason why Wyndham Clark can't come to a major where Matt Kuchar and Jordan Spieth went head-to-head in 2017 and kind of replicate that. So I think the odds on Wyndham Clark are huge.
And you know what? Wyndham Clark won't mind playing a road Open Championship in the UK.
No, I think Wyndham Clark will enjoy it. I think he'll certainly be. If there's a lot of English fans out there trying to, all dressed in England shirts, getting a little bit rowdy, maybe cheering on a Fitzpatrick or a Fleetwood in the final group versus Clark, I think he'll relish that as well. So we're in for a real potential. You hope that Matt Fitzpatrick's obviously kind of involved, Dylan, right? And he'll certainly be sort of hoping that England are in the final on Sunday. And I just think that both of those things play into Wyndham Clark's hands. He'd love to be the spoiler, right? He'd love to kind of rally up the crowd against him. Maybe Victor Hovland's involved and Wyndham Clark has to go against the Norwegian row. Whatever happens, he kind of would take on those hopefuls in the crowd. So, the way I'm thinking right now, Wyndham Clark's really front of mind for me.
Or maybe John Rahm says, you know what, Spain are going to win the World Cup and the Open in the same afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, fair play if they get past France, but I think at France-England finals on the cards.
Then the problem is which Frenchman's going to win the Open.
Victor Perez? I don't even know if he's playing. He's definitely in the Scottish Open. He's playing well at the Scottish Open. I'm not sure he's in the field, but if he is, then he could win.
And you know what? Anybody else can, because I think the Open offers the greatest unpredictability of any major. Because who gets shafted by the draw?
Yeah, if you get the right side of the draw, that can be worth sort of 4 or 5 shots, right? So we'll all find out on Tuesday. And that's one thing I would say, like when I'm sitting here kind of being a little bit coy about my pick, it's because I could put right out Clark now and he gets the absolute worst draw. Like same with Fitzpatrick, same with you, right? We could get absolutely done. And
I remember a year or 2 ago, I picked Ludwig and he got absolutely hosed by the draw.
And now he just does it to himself. He doesn't need a bad draw now. He just implodes himself. Didn't he miss the cut again this week, Ludwig?
Oh boy, Ludwig, where have you been, my friend?
Fitzpatrick just made another birdie, by the way, Dylan. So he's now within 2 of the lead at the Scottish Open. So your one and done picks warming up nicely ahead of next week's major.
Yeah, Ludwig and Scotty both missed the cut by 1, I think, or 2.
There was a lot of bad miscuts. Ludwig missed by 1. Cantlay missed by 1. Marco Peng missed by 1. Koepka by 2. Shane Lowry by 2. Nikolai Højgaard by 2. He was popular. Scheffler by 2. Alex Fitzpatrick missed by 3.
Well, I think Alex Fitzpatrick's exhausted. He's played a lot of golf.
Well, he had to come crashing down at some point. It was a shame it was in the Scottish Open, but he's been brilliant.
And you have too, so good luck to England against Argentina on Wednesday afternoon in Atlanta. And then any plans if England ended up beating some guy named Messi or flying across the pond to MetLife?
I mean, I'd love to have the finances to secure a ticket to the World Cup final. I imagine. I mean, look, maybe if it looks like Wyndham Clark wins, then maybe I'll spend some of that money before it wins. But no plans yet. I'm sure it'd be a watch party at home with plenty of beers.